How do you help your overachieving, a perfectionist teenager find some balance over the summer? Well, we're going to talk about that today on Tips on Teens. My name is Kent Toussaint. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I specialize in helping kids, teens, and families to live happier lives. I lead two organizations, Teen Therapy Center and the nonprofit 501c3 organization, Child and Teen Counseling, both here in Woodland Hills, California. And every Wednesday at noon, I jump onto Facebook Live to answer your parenting questions. Let's answer today's. My overachieving and perfectionist son just finished 10th grade. We started to worry about him this year, and we want to hopefully reboot this summer and make some changes. We're glad he's so focused on academics, but we're worried about his health. This year, he really started to neglect some of his friendships, and he opted not to play soccer because he said he needed the time for schoolwork. Can you give us some ideas of how we can give him some healthy balance? Yes, thank you for your question. We see this a lot as therapists. These overachieving perfectionists who can never do enough, and they'll grind themselves into the ground trying to be perfect. And of course, no one is ever perfect, and having setbacks are just intolerable. And when they have that setback, it feels like it's devastation and the world is over. And I think having balance is a really important thing. So when I say balance, what does that mean? Obviously, if he's motivated for academic success, fantastic. Keep going with that. But there needs to be balance. There needs to be a social aspect to his life in some way. He doesn't have to be the life of the party. He doesn't have to be homecoming king. He just has to have some meaningful social interaction. Oftentimes, that can be through extracurricular activities. Now, he's already given up soccer. I don't know if he can get back into soccer. But if it's not soccer, what else is it? Is it the academic decathlon team? Is it the speech and debate team? Is it, it really doesn't matter what it is, if it's something that's interesting to him and he finds it fascinating. Because again, if college is his goal, which sounds like it would be his goal, he's going to need extracurriculars to get into those colleges because those are being weighed more heavily, generally speaking. Obviously, there are exceptions, but oftentimes extracurriculars are a big factor, not just GPAs. And there also, I think we need to really understand why he's pulling away from his friends. Now, it could be an unhealthy thing that he's pulling away and just jumping to books and that's all he's doing. But it's also, what if he's kind of outgrowing these friends? What if his maturity level is rising, but his friends aren't? Let's say he's really focused on doing well in school and his friends are just focused on getting high on the weekends. Maybe he's in this transition phase, which happens to a lot of teenagers. At some point in high school, they feel distant from their friend group. They don't feel like they connect to that friend group, and they're in between friend groups. So I want to be talking to him about how he is finding that new friend group. And again, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be messy. It's going to be imperfect, and that's okay. I think it's important to talk to him about that and help him understand that. I think it's important to also, if you're really worried about his health, what about his health? Is it his sleep? Is it his eating? Is it his lack of exercise? And those things can all be addressed as ways to take care of the machine that is his body that carries his brain around. Because if his body's not doing well, his brain can't do well. And it's all connected. So physical health leads to emotional and mental health. And I think it's important to have not just one, but many conversations about that. Also, I think it's important to remind him that even with setbacks, you accept him 100% no matter what. Whether he gets into his A school or his G school, whatever that is, he's still accepted and wonderful, and he's going to do great because he has the capacity. And you love him and accept him regardless of his successes and his failures. It sounds to me, and obviously I don't know, but it sounds to me this kid is only focused on, his next success, which is never good enough, and every failure he has is totally overblown. And I think it's important that we start recognizing some balance here. And yes, failures happen, and they don't feel good, but they're very necessary. Without failures, we don't learn, we don't grow. No one goes out and bats 1,000. We have to swing and miss. We have to strike out. We have to, do a pop flying, here's my big baseball analogy, right? We have to fail. And failure is okay. Because if we learn how to fail, we learn how to get back up and go forward again. And my concern is for this kid, he doesn't know how to fail. He doesn't know how to deal with setbacks. So he's trying to be so focused on this one thing that he's trying to protect himself from any kind of failure or setback. It's not realistic. He's going to hit setbacks no matter what he does. Anyways, it's a big topic. There's a lot about this we don't know, so I'm just kind of hitting on the surface, but these are the conversations I'd want to have with him. If you feel like your conversations with him aren't really hitting the nail on the head, aren't going far enough, you can always, contact a therapist who specializes in teenagers to help kind of speak teenager so he can, start understanding what's going on with him, help reprioritize what's important to him to start going forward in the direction that's the most healthy for him. That's our question for today. Again, my name is Kent Toussaint with Teen Therapy Center and Child and Teen Counseling. If you have a question you'd like me to answer here every Wednesday at noon on Tips on Teens, email us at tipsonteens@teentherapycenter.com or direct messages right here on Facebook. And what else do I want to say? Probably something else, but I forgot what it was. Anyways, have a great week. Oh, if you want to join our Facebook group, it's called Tips on Teens. Go ahead and join us, and you'll get these in your feed, and you'll hear a lot more advice and stuff we're doing. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.